Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Welcome to the last 11 days. Today is day 90, the last 11 days, and I've just been going back and forth on what I should do here with these last 11 days. And I think it goes back to the idea that this 101 themes for business, 101 themes for business. So I think that we should continue to focus on these 101 themes. There are some other aspects of the book, Create Crucial Insight by Thomas Buchholz, that I could talk about. I could go into it. There's some other interesting ideas that we could peruse, but that's out of the scope of this playlist because the playlist is called 101 Themes for Business. So we probably should focus on these 101 themes. Now, I want to bring two ideas together. All right. So one is the idea that you have been watching this playlist and you're like, hey, I think I want to buy the book. Why not? It's only like $20, $30, I don't know. And it seems to have completely transformed this man's life. This man meaning me, Blaine Gates. This book has completely transformed my life. So if it transformed my life, if a physicist writing a book, and then I put that book into my head and it completely transformed my life, maybe it could also influence other people's lives. So you started to think, okay, so, these are interesting. I like his playlist, I like his videos, and they're all kind of interesting. But how much is he actually covering of each of the chapters? How much is he actually explaining? And this is his understanding of these checklists. This is his expression of these themes. And so maybe there's actually more in the book that I'm able to see if I buy the book. So you're thinking about buying the book. All right. Number two, possibly you're like, well, I could talk to him. He's got a pretty reasonable price for spending 1 hour together. And maybe we could actually I can make some progress in my life. I could change my perspective. I could improve my ability to work. I could understand the relationships a little better. I could see the projects a little clearer. I could come up with some new idea. I can create crucial insight for such a low price. Amazing. Why not go down below and either find the link to buy the book or find the link to book one of my classes? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You just sit and look at me at the other end of a Zoom or Skype call. And after 1 hour, you say, oh, that was interesting. All right, so I want to put these two ideas together. So the first idea is okay, so when I meet people for the first time, basically I have three different possibilities. So I listen to the project. All right, so the first thing I say is, all right, so what is the project that you are working on? And sometimes after a little while, I understand that they are managing people, that they need to have a discussion about how to improve somebody on their team. They need to have some kind of framework to understand the behavior of somebody on their team. And then they want to figure out ways to understand that behavior, ways to motivate, ways to train, ways to inspire, ways to work with people. Then on the other side, we have people who are top-level CEOs, top-level management, and they are more concerned about aligning projects together. How do we align the project together? And in general, by the time you reach that level of business, you probably don't need my help because there's not a lot I can illuminate once you have 20 years of experience. So it's more for some of the younger managers who have been put into a position that they're not necessarily totally comfortable with. And so I can help them to kind of look at some of these different checklists related to matching up partners, looking at decisions, talking about databases, research, and those type of ideas. And then one more type of business is when you have a project, you're trying to create a project, you're trying to write some kind of communications, you're trying to deliver a presentation, you want to write some invitations, you want to write an email, you want to put a project together, you need to present something. Now, obviously, these are very frequent types of activities. And so every time someone talks to me, it's very quick. we jump into one of the checklists, and then we start a discussion. Now, what about if you purchased the book for the first time? What would I do if I was you purchasing this book for the first time? All right, so basically the way that the book works, even though there may be, sometimes when I first bought the book, it was very difficult for me to understand what was going on. And I was reading, and I was rereading, and I was rereading, and I was reading again and again and again. And then eventually I understood that there's one page, it's on page 11, figure number 6. It says from some questions to some applicable checklists. All right, so finally I've decided I know what to do for the next 10 days. Each day, we can kind of attack one checklist per day. Now today, we're going to start with state drive. All right, so you have the state drive badge. All right, so it says, to what extent does the endeavor appropriately consider participants' drive? All right, so what does that mean? To what extent does the endeavor appropriately consider participants' drive? The idea is that if you have a project, you need to also consider how much drive is within the people who will be carrying out that project. All right, so you have a project and you need to staff that project, or you have staff and you need to give the staff a project. Either way, you have to match up the amount of drive which is necessary to complete a project with the amount of drive you have in the person. Like imagine I didn't have as much drive. Imagine I couldn't handle 101 days. There were a couple of days there it was a little bit shaky, but as you can see, we're on day number 90. And it's a clear view to the end. There's 11 days. There's 10 more checklists. That means the only thing I really have to think about is what to do on the last day, because I can go through each of these checklists one more time to review them. Therefore, we have successfully completed 101 days, 101 themes for business. We did it. We did it. The last 10 days. Let's do it. So, when you're organizing a project, are you considering how much drive you have in the participants, in the people? All right. So that's a question on page 11 in figure number 6. So, and if that's one of the questions you have, like how much motivation, how much drive, how much oomph do my staff really have, then that is a good place to start. That tells you probably the correct checklist to select would be state drive. Now here's some other ideas related to state drive. All right, so it says state drive, okay? Understand histories and attitudes regarding competitiveness of work. Understand histories and attitudes regarding competitiveness of work. All right, so you can use the state drive checklist to kind of plot. It's, as you remember, we created these 4 quadrants, and you can say, hey, what happened in that project? Were we competitive? How successful were we? How much effort did we put into it? All right, so we can understand the past. Did we succeed? Now, is the reason that we didn't succeed because we didn't have enough success? Okay, so why did we not have enough success? Or was it because we didn't have enough effort? Well, why did we not have enough effort? Or did we select people to do those tasks that couldn't complete them successfully? Or attitudes. So now we can look at our staff right now. And usually in our first lesson, if we discuss state drive, I'm going to ask you some questions about the people that you're managing. Some people use real names, some people use fake names, some people use a letter, some people use animal names. You can use any name you want. You don't have to say who the person is. But I need you to talk about the people that you're managing so we can figure out where they are in those quadrants and then plot a path. We can either say, no, this person does not belong in this project, or what can we do to assist the person? All right, so now let's flip to the actual checklist. So from here, so it's like, yeah, that's what I want. I need to understand the history regarding this project because I'm concerned about what's going on. I need to understand what is going on. So the first thing that we do is we head to the actual title of the checklist. All right, so the title, it says, envision matches and mismatches between endeavor needs or cultures and participants' attitudes. And most people, there's only been like 2 or 3 people that are like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Most people are like, that's over my head. I can't understand. All right, so envision, it means to picture, to see in your mind, in your mind's eye. Open up your mind's eye and start to envision. See pictures in your head of how either there is a match or a mismatch. All right, so match, so you can see these fine, fancy clothes that I wear. You know, the white goes with the white. You know, it goes well together. The glasses are dark. This is dark. You know, there's no crazy even my hair has the gray in it. You know, match. All right, or mismatch. All right, so if I had pink hair and green glasses and orange shirt, that might be a mismatch. Now, sometimes it's helpful to, rather than saying match or mismatch, it can be helpful to say, like, what percentage? At what percentage is it a match? Or at what percentage is it a mismatch? Can I see the clock? No, I can't. All right, we're going to have to wrap this up because I'm not sure how much time I have until the next lesson. All right, so basically what I'm going to say is, please tell me, what is the work that person should be doing? All right, so what is the work that person needs to be doing? And we're going to list, this person should be doing this person should be doing 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what is the person actually doing? All right, so it says between the match and mismatch between endeavor needs. Endeavor needs means the work that needs to be done. And the participant's attitude means what is their attitude toward doing that work? Do they have enough effort? Do they have enough success? And remember, the 4 quadrants, they have 4 different types of attitudes. And the attitudes represent the level of effort and the level of success. So we need to know, what's the percentage? 50%, 60%, 70%. And we can divide this in between level of effort. Okay, so how much effort is needed and how much effort are you getting? How much success is needed and how much success are you getting? All right, so this is the idea of state drive. Now, once we're able to understand what needs to be done, and then we understand what is actually being done, then next we can look at those 4 quadrants. We can say, this specific type of work, it has this amount of effort and it has this amount of success. Therefore, we can plot the person right there. But we need this person to be up and over. We need them to be a little more effort and a little more drive. Therefore, 2 questions. What can you do as a manager to provide an environment where you can get more effort out of the person you're managing? And question number 2, what can you do as a manager to help your staff become more successful? And what's the difference between those 2 questions? All right, so that's the first thing that you're going to learn from me if you're a manager. That's the first discussion we will have. And that is what I would do if I was reading this book, Create Crucial Insight, for the first time. This has been another episode of Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates.